Good day everyone. Last week we discussed about relations and functions. In this session, we will be focusing on modeling word problems using functions. We will be guided by the following objectives. Number one, you should be able to represent real-life situations using function and as well as to solve problems involving functions. Let's go right away in the first example. Let's go with a simple one. Write a function C that represents the cost of buying face mask if a face mask costs 65 pesos. So this should be easy for you. If we try to solve for 3 face masks, we will just simply multiply 3 by 65 and we'll have 195 pesos. If we try to buy 10 face masks, we'll multiply it by 65 pesos and we'll have 650 pesos. As you can see in our sample computations, our input is the number of face masks, while our output is the total costs. Therefore, we can show or we can conclude that the cost as a function of the number of face masks X is equal to 65x. So this is one of the way that I could share with you, that is to make a sample computations, and then based from the sample computations you can identify which one is your input. Usually the input are always on the solution part, while the final computation will be the output. So that is how it makes sense in a word problem. Let's now proceed with our second example. Isaac's retirement party costs 30,000 pesos, plus an additional 2,000 pesos for each guest he invites. So if you can see, there is a fixed cost of 30,000, and there is another cost of 2,000 that is adjustable as per to how many guests Isaac will have. So let's try solving for 5 guests. So, of course, we will multiply the 2,000 pesos with 5 guests, and that will give us actually 10,000 pesos. And we add it with 30,000 pesos fixed cost, and that will give us 40,000 pesos. Let's try solving for 20 guests. Of course, the 20 guests, each of them should have an additional cost of 2,000, so we multiply, and that will give us 40,000 pesos, and we add the fixed cost 30,000, that will give us 70,000 pesos. So you can see that our input is the number of guests and our output is the total cost. So we can represent the total cost as a function of number of guests is equal to 30,000 pesos plus the 2,000 pesos times G. Let's try another one. Bennett and his friends decide to go bowling. The cost for the group is 1,500 for shoe rentals. Of course, you're going to use the shoes from the beginning up to the end of the game. So the price won't change. Plus a 500 pesos per game. Of course, this one depends on how many games you will be performing. So represent the total cost C as a function of the number of game N. So obviously, pinakita na, it is already shown what is our output and what is our input. So if you try to solve for 3 game, how much will they spend for 3 game? So we'll have the 500 pesos per game multiplied to 3. Let's rewrite it. The 500 pesos per game multiplied to 3 games plus the 1,500 shoe rental. It will give us how much? 3,000 pesos. So without further ado, you can obviously see that this is our input and the total cost is our output. So we can now rewrite them. So we represent first our output as the function of cost, as the cost of the function of total number of game N. equals, so we start now with the solution. We go now with the solution. We write first the constant 1,500 pesos, and then we add the 500 and represented number of game. And so, this is how we represent them. Yan. Punta po tayo sa medyo mas mahirap pa ng bahagya. No? Your business math teacher wants your class to run a t-shirt printing. To determine the probability of the business, the class needs to know how much it will cost to produce the printed shirts. So, to produce a printed shirt, of course, you need a machine. So, the heat press machine costs 24,480. So, analyzing this one, this won't change. The price won't change no matter how many shirts you produce. So, the t-shirts in bulk, when you buy it in bulk, it will cost 120 pesos each. The transfers to press refers to the sublimation paper, the wax paper, and so on. These transfers cost 40 pesos per set each. So your task to represent the cost as a function of the number of printed t-shirt. And that will be the input will be the number of printed t-shirt, and then the output will be the total cost. How much will it cost producing 250 printed shirt? So if we try solving for let's say we try to solve for 5 shirts, no? So kailangan mo nating isipin how much will each shirt cost, and then how much will it cost for the transfer. So we can add this actually 160 pesos, no? So the 5 t-shirt will be multiplied to 160 pesos. That's the cost of the t-shirt and the press and the transfer to press. And then we add the fixed cost, which is the heat press machine, para malaman natin kung magkano lahat yung gagastusin natin. So how much this will be? 160 times 5 is 800, and we add it to 24,480, so it will give us 25,280 pesos. So looking at this example, no, kung nakita naman natin na tama yung ginagawa natin, we just multiply it by 5 and add the fixed cost heat press machine. We can represent this already. This is our cost as total number of printed t-shirts. So let's have it as X. Yung ating printed t-shirt equals to our solution, yung 24,480 added to 160 X, that will be our input, the total number of t-shirt. So we will be using this function on computing what will be the cost kapag we are producing certain number of printed t-shirt. And now, as it suggests, no, may tanong dito, how much will it cost producing 250 printed shirt? So we will just simply evaluate. So 250 t-shirt. This is now the application naman of evaluation. 24,480 plus, this 160 pesos times 250 t-shirt. So how much will that be? The 160 multiplied to 250 added to, that's actually 40,000. No? So when you had this 40,000 plus 24,480, that's actually 64,480 pesos. So 250 shirts costs 64,480 pesos. And so to answer the question. So I hope this one is clear to you. So anyway, if some of the example is not clear to you, you can pause and replay some part of this video. And let's go now to our final example. Since kanina we have an example of evaluation, this is also an example of evaluation, and let's try to interpret properly. No, a charity organization had a fundraiser which aimed to cover all production costs, where each ticket was sold for a fixed price. So the reason for having these fundraising tickets is to cover all the production costs of whatever project they have. So we have already the function p of n equals 170n minus 1,500. It denotes the profit, no? The profit is, if we analyze it properly, the profit is how much will they earn after selling this amount of ticket and after paying for the production cost. So that's why you can see may subtraction dyan na nangyari, no? So, how much net profit did they earn after selling 20 tickets? So, we will just solve or evaluate for P of 20. Let's just clear. P of 20 equals 170 times 20 minus 1,500. Nagloko siya. 1,500. So, 170 times 4 times 20 is 3,400 minus 1,500. Now, this is actually the total cost ng ticket na nasold nila. And if we subtract there the supposedly the production cost, they will have a total profit of 1,900. Yan. That is their profit after selling 20 tickets. So the more tickets they sell, no, the more profit they'll be. So kasi itong 1,500, the production cost is fixed naman yan. No. So that's the end of the discussion. So what I suggest you to do in dealing with modeling word problems involving function, you try to solve first a situation. You put yourself into the situation. You try to analyze the quantities given, the amount, and then try to solve, no, for certain value of input, no, kung ilang face mask, kung ilang game yung lalaro, no, depende sa situation. You try to solve fairly. You have to have an understanding of the word problem. Then after you solve, you try to solve another one until you see the pattern. And then the pattern will be your big break to identify the function to be used to represent the word problem. So, you just have to use the proper variable, no, representing minsan kung ano yung simulang letter niya, yun ang ginagamit natin. You can always use the X as your input, and then the output will be depends on the letter, no. That's how creative you could be with this representation and modeling. So, see you again on our next video. A more challenging one naman sa ating next video, no. So, goodbye everyone. See you again.